Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Millie, and on this channel I talk about knitting and crochet. I share my works in progress, my finished objects, and I have a few knitting tutorials and I'm adding to those as I go along. So if this is your first time, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. On today's video, I'm going to be sharing 2 finished objects and 2 works in progress. And the first object that I'm going to share with you is my finished cardigan, which I am wearing. And it looks really nice, it fits, and I'm so proud because this has been a WIP since 2019. And I am so happy that I finally finished. I had planned to finish this in the winter so that I can wear it, but I didn't make it. But the bottom line is that I'm finished. And so it's going to be ready for next winter. And this is what it looks like. It has cables in the back, and it has a 2x2 ribbing, and it has increases, and it's a very interesting construction. It wasn't hard, and the cables, once I did a few rows of the cable, I was able to memorize it, and I'm so happy with the way it turned out. And it's not supposed to have buttons, but I think I'm going to add some buttons because I like buttoning my cardigans, but that would depend. I actually put some buttonholes, but you can't really see them. But what I need to do now is weave in all these ends and then put it in the washer so that I can block it, because it's a little bit wiggling here at the bottom. But I think blocking it will smooth everything out. So I am so happy with it. I finally finished it, and I think that's a big thing for me because sometimes I have projects that are WIPs for a long time, and this is one of them, but it's not the oldest WIP that I've had. I know I have some others that are on the needles, and they've been like that for a long time. And I've talked about this cardigan before, but I'm going to leave more information in the description if you're interested. It was very easy, a very easy construction, but the yarn that the designer used was a merino wool, but I used 100% acrylic, and this is Lion Brand Heartland yarn, and I made a large size. And the name of the pattern is Let Go by one of my favorite designers. Her name is Joji Locatelli, and I'm going to leave all that information down below. I'm going to also kind of estimate how much yarn that I used. And when I was working on it in the winter, it felt like it wasn't that heavy. But once I finished it, I think because we are in the summer now, when I put it on, I was like, oh my gosh, that sweater is heavy. So that's why I'm saying that it's a winter cardigan, and I'm going to save it in my winter wardrobe until towards the end of the year, and I'm sure it will come in handy. Because I started it in 2019, I kind of ran out of yarn somewhere, I think somewhere here on this sleeve, and I was saving the original yarn that I had for the button band because it's more visible than the sleeve. And so actually, if you look closely, you can tell. I can tell, but most people won't be able to tell unless they are really scrutinizing it. But anyway, I ran out of yarn, and I went back to Joann's to get more yarn, and you know how that works. So if you're going to work on a large project, it's always a good idea, or it's advisable to get enough yarn in the same dye a lot, because if you run out and you go back to the store, chances are that you're not going to find the same dye lot. It will be the same colorway, but the dye lot will be different, and so the yarn will not match. So on one of the sleeves, it's a little bit, it has more gray than black, and this one it had more black than this gray that is running through it. But it's okay. You won't be able to tell unless you're really looking at it. So I'm happy with it nevertheless, but that was something that I knew, but I still went ahead and procrastinated on this cardigan, and then I either ran out, I think I ran out of the yarn because I used some of it to knit a hat or something like that. I think that's what happened. So I'm finally done with that, and I'll leave all the information about the pattern down in the description if you're interested in making this cardigan. It's a very good construction. It's a satin sleeves and all that, and that's what I like. I wear drop shoulder sweaters over here, like drop shoulder starts over here, but I don't really like it. I like a fitted look more. So this worked out really well for me, and I'm thinking I have some merino wool that I bought, and it's enough to make a cardigan, and I'm thinking maybe I'll wind that and make it in merino wool and see what happens. So that is the first thing that I have to share with you. And the second thing is a finished pair of socks. So I have a finished pair of socks, and I have shown them before as a WIP, but I finally finished these socks. And these are just regular toe-up socks. I didn't add any pattern. I let the yarn do its thing. And so, and this is made out of just regular basic sock yarn. It's actually Cozy Toes is what I've used for these socks. And this is it's a acrylic polyester blend, 7% polyester, 93% acrylic. So it's very basic, and I got it from Hobby Lobby. I think it was going for 97 cents. That's why I bought it. And I made a pair of socks, and I need to weave in these ends. I hate weaving in ends, but I think I need to do better, because if I can weave in ends as quickly as I finish the project, that means that it will be ready to use as soon as, faster than I normally would have it ready, because I kind of procrastinate when it comes to weaving in the tails, and then I have projects that need to be finished, and then it's just sitting there. And these socks were finished a few weeks ago, and I still need to do that, and get rid of all the stitch markers that I had and all these progress keepers and put them back where they belong. So I'll leave the information about these socks, but I have just this one pattern that I use for all my socks, because when I was learning to knit socks, I had a very hard time figuring everything out. But when I found this pattern, this is not actually a pattern that I use, it's a sock recipe. So it tells you how to measure your foot, and then it tells you how to multiply and divide all those measurements to come up with socks for any size. And so I like that, and what I've done is I know how many stitches I need for the calf for socks to fit me. And so I've already written that down, and I just go by that sock recipe, and I'm going to leave it in the description if you're interested. And it just works for me. And then I like toe-up socks, because once I cast off, I am done, apart from weaving in the ends. I think I've never done calf down socks, and I'm thinking I should give them a try and see how that works. But I kind of just go back to this pattern because it works for me, and I've made more than 10 pairs of socks using the same sock recipe, and it's been working for me. So far so good. And all my socks have a gusset because that is the design that fits my foot better. And so that's also the other reason that I stick to this pattern, because I know that the socks are going to fit me better. And so I used 2 of these. So there's 210 yards in this little ball of yarn, and I have these 2 left for each sock. And I think I'm going to put this in one spot because I have more of these, and then maybe once I'm done using up the yarn, then I'll maybe make socks with scrap yarn. So I'm just gonna save them somewhere and have them ready for when maybe I'll make a scrappy blanket or something, I don't know. But I'll find something to do with them. So now let's go to the WIPs that I have. And I have another pair of socks that is a WIP, because I've decided that I'm going to keep a pair of socks as a WIP because it's an easy project and it's a quick grab and go project, and they don't take any space in your bag. So if you're going somewhere, instead of trying to figure out how to carry a large blanket or a large sweater, you can just grab your socks. They fit in a little project bag, and then they don't take much room. So I'm going to keep a pair of socks as my WIP throughout, unless I don't feel inspired. But this is the sock that I'm working on. It's another toe-up socks, and this yarn is from my stash. It's one of those discontinued yarns from Hobby Lobby, and I don't remember the name, but I'm going to leave the name in the description. And I think this is 100% superwash wool, if I'm not wrong. But I'll leave all the details about this in the description. So it's also, this one is going to be mine. So I usually cast on 16 on each needle, and then I increase to 68, and that works perfectly for my foot. And I use 2 16-inch circular knitting needles for all my socks. I don't use double points. I don't like double points. So I use, this works best for me. And so these are 16 inches, and these are a size 1, I believe. That's what I'm using. And it's working really well. It looks nice. I think I got distracted at one point and I messed up a little bit, but I think that will straighten when I block the socks. But these are mine, and I'm hoping to just keep going and grab and go. I don't have any plan on when I'll finish them, but I'm hoping I can finish them so that I can work on a different pair, because I have some very beautiful yarn that I have in my stash that I bought when I went to the Fiber Fest last year, and I want to use it up and make up some socks. So that is what one of my WIPs, and I'll leave any additional information in the description as usual. The second work in progress that I'm going to share with you is this new blanket that I started last night. And it's a granny square blanket, but I learned how to do a solid granny square. And I decided that that's what I was gonna use for this blanket, and I've managed to make 1, 2, I have 5 finished already. And I timed myself, and I'm finishing one in 25 minutes. Is that slow or is that fast? I don't know. I am not very fast when I'm crocheting, but also it's because sometimes I'm crocheting, I'm watching TV, I'm watching videos on YouTube, and so I get distracted. But to time myself, I turned my phone upside down, face down, and then I focused on working on the granny square, and it took me 25 minutes. I think I could do it in less than 25 minutes, especially once I get the hang of it, and I don't have to go back and look to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to challenge myself and see if I can bring it down to 20 so that I can finish this blanket quickly. So this blanket is for my grad baby, and she chose this color. And this is coming from my stash. I've had this in my stash for a while. And this year, I am challenging myself to dive into my stash and use up the yarn that I have, because I have a lot of yarn and it needs to get used instead of just going to buy some more. So this is then the yarn that I'm using, and it's just called We Love Yarn. It's a classic acrylic, and it's from Hobbii. Hobbii. So it's online. That's where I bought it, and I bought a bunch of yarns, and this is one of them. And this is like a purple, a nice shade of purple. I hope the camera can show it as nicely as I can see it in person. It's really beautiful. And she chose this yarn. She wanted lavender is what she wanted, but since I was trying not to buy, I showed her this one and she liked it. And so that's what I'm going to use, or that's what I'm using. And this is a 4-weight, and there's 191 yards in one of these. And the crochet hook recommended for this is 5.5 mil. It's 5 to 5.5 millimeters, but I'm using 5.5 millimeters, and it's working really well. And I'm loving how it's turning out. But you can tell by touching it that it's not like a premium acrylic. It's just a regular acrylic yarn, like an everyday type of acrylic. But it's going to work for these purposes. So I had 5 of these, and I've caked some of it. I don't know if it's going to be enough to finish the blanket, because I'm planning to do 6 granny squares across and 7 down. So I don't know if I'm going to have enough, and that is why I have this as an addition. And this is, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby, and this is called Orchid. I think it's color 290, and the name of it is Orchid. So I'm going to mix these two just to make sure that I have enough yarn to make that blanket, and I'm thinking that it should be enough. I will probably make the border with this color, and then maybe do mix or do the last row in this. I don't know, but I'll just figure it out as I go. And I'm hoping that this yarn will go a long way. So far, I have made this out of one ball of yarn, and I still have some left. I think I can make 6.5 out of one of these, but I'm going to find out as soon as I go back and make the other granny square. So I'm making 5 rows or 5 rounds because I don't want it to be very big. So I'm making 5 rounds, and I think that's a good size. And I'm liking how it's turning out. I know it's a little wobbly, but I'm thinking that that will straighten out as soon as I weave in and block it. I think that should get rid of all these wiggling or wobbling. I don't know what to call it, but they're not completely straight. I know that I've watched some videos that talk about doing one round and then going back the other way. but I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to trust that once I block this, that it's going to straighten it and it's going to lay flat. So I think that is all I have on this project. So I'm hoping that I can finish it in June, because I'm still working on my temperature blanket. So I'm hoping that I can get this done in June so that I can start working on my on the other projects that I have planned for, and probably by September I'm going to start making my holiday gifts, because I like to gift knitted things or crocheted things for the holiday. So I want to get this out of the way so that I'll have time to make or to get to my other projects. So that is the granny squares, and that is one of the WIPs that I have that I am really, really enjoying. And more so because I learned how to make a solid granny square. And this year I'm challenging myself to improve my crochet skills, and this is one of the things that I had promised myself that I'm going to learn. And so I am so happy that I finally am able to do that. And I have another granny square that I saw on YouTube that I'm planning to uh, uh, learn how to make, and I will share with you that in the near future as soon as I get to it. That is all I have for you today. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. And if this is your first time here, thank you so much. And until next time, happy knitting!